Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. What a job. Our incoming administration has achieved all of this in the Middle East in less than 3 months without being president. We've achieved more without being president than they've achieved in 4 years with being president. But just imagine all of the good things that we will accomplish together with 4 more years in the White House, and we're going to do a lot of things. You're going to see something tomorrow. You're going to see executive orders that are going to make you extremely happy. Lots of them. Lots of them. We have to set our country on the proper course. By the time the sun sets tomorrow evening, the invasion of our borders will have come to a halt, and all the illegal border trespassers will in some form or another be on their way back home. Think of it. We've allowed millions and millions of people into our country through open borders, no checks, no vetting, no anything. Millions and millions of people. And lots of those people are murderers. 52% of them killed more than one person. Other than that, they're quite fine. They're nice people. These are rough people. Remember, I used to say these people are rough. And they would say, no, these are illegal immigrants. They're very safe. I said, they're not safe. Look at what's happened with Venezuela, where they're sending these gangs in and they're taking over apartment complexes in Colorado and then cutting off the fingers of a man who had the nerve and desire to call the police. He said, you want to call the police? Bah, guess what? You have no fingers. These are rough people, and they're getting the hell out of our country. They're out. The border security measures I will outline in my inaugural address tomorrow will be the most aggressive, sweeping effort to restore our borders the world has ever seen. You know, we had the best, safest border in the history of our country. You remember that with the great chart that I put up. I don't even know if they have that chart now. Maybe they do. These guys are good. Maybe they do. Who the hell? I don't know. I didn't tell them I was going to do this. I didn't tell, but we have some very good people, but I didn't say. But we had a chart, and I looked to my right, and then they said, ooh, that was it. That hurt. What the hell was that? I still have that throbbing feeling in my ear. Oh, there it is. Look at it. These people are amazing. I didn't tell them I was doing that. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's all over the place. I love that. That is the most beautiful piece of paper I've ever seen in my life. But if you look at that chart and you look at the red arrow on the bottom, that's the single lowest we ever had in history, at least recorded history, of illegals pouring into our country. We had done a great job, and then they took over, and look what happened. It's like an Elon Musk rocket ship going up. That reminds me of Elon, his rocket ships. Look at that. Look at the difference. And it just continued and continued, and we're taking in people that shouldn't be here. They come in from prisons, from jails. They shouldn't be here. Mental institutions. I used to mention, and the press would always excoriate me, I'd say the late, great Hannibal Lecter came into our country today. Silence of the Lamb. Anybody see that movie? Lovely movie. And when people went to the voter booth, they said, we don't want Hannibal Lecter in our country. The press would say, why is he bringing up Hannibal Lecter? That was a fictitious character. Actually, they're not so fictitious. We have people in our country that are probably worse that we allowed in. But we will quickly reestablish control of our sovereign territory and borders. We will expel every single illegal alien, gang member, and migrant criminal operating on American soil, and remove the savage gang Tren de Aragua from the United States. Here's a little video for you to see about this gang. Go ahead.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America. It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members stormed storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about lack of crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented cross the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE.
Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez and Angel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who was wanted for 23 murders. He was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
That's what we allowed in, and they're nice people compared to some of them. They're nicer than others. These are really vicious people, gang members, and many, many people from prisons. And crime all over the world is down. You know why? Because they got their criminals into the United States of America. You look at Venezuela, they've emptied their prisons into our country. Many other places the same. I would have done the same if I headed up any of the countries. I know most of those guys are smart. They're leaders. They are smart, streetwise people. As soon as I heard they were going to have open borders, I said, if you do that, every prison all over the world is going to be emptied out into our country. They come in from the Congo. The Congo's big on emptying their prisons. The only thing good about it is they make our criminals look like really nice people. These people are vicious people all over the world, not just South America, all over the world they come, from mental institutions and from jails and prisons. With our actions tomorrow, my administration will deliver justice for every family whose loved one has been stolen from them by migrant crime, including Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, Jocelyn Nungaray, Kayla Hamilton, and every other precious American soul that we have lost to these animals. Their memories will live in the hearts forever, in our hearts forever, and we will never, ever forget them. And their contribution, I told their mothers who were devastated, their parents, their fathers, they're devastated. They'll never be the same. They'll never be the same. But I said, your daughter has made a major contribution. Your son has made a major contribution. There are hundreds and even thousands of victims of this horrible atrocity. And you add those numbers to the numbers of crime that we're already going through the roof, and it's something that you wouldn't even believe. Do you remember I did the debate, and I had David Muir from ABC saying, no, crime has gone down. I said, no, it's gone through the roof. Crime has gone through the roof, David. No, crime has gone down. I said it's gone through the roof. And then he goes, I disagree with that. The next day they announced that crime was up like 40%. This guy the whole thing is it's so bad. You can't even imagine how anybody could be for these things think of it, open borders, prisons and mental institutions, men playing in women's sports, transgender for everyone. Transgender. And very soon we'll begin the largest deportation operation in American history, larger even larger than President Dwight Eisenhower, who has the record right now. And we're going to end the Biden war on American energy and unleash our energy resources to quickly defeat inflation and achieve the lowest cost of energy and electricity on earth. And we're going to be using our emergency powers to allow countries and entrepreneurs and people with a lot of money build big plants, AI plants. We need double the energy that we already have, and it's going to end up being more than that. And we're going to slash the regulations, environmental regulations that are really put in there in order to stop progress in this country. We're going to also slash something else, the waste in our bloated federal bureaucracy. We will create the new Department of Government Efficiency, headed by a gentleman named Elon Musk, who's here someplace. I don't know where the hell he is. He's here someplace. Come here, Elon. Did you see his rocket yesterday? It was captured. And X is with him. X. Come on, Elon. Say a couple of words.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry, little X just followed me on the stage here. He's a very enthusiastic supporter, as you can see. Woo! Yeah. So we're looking forward to.
नौमुंतखब अमरीकी सदर ट्रंप का वाशिंगटन में रैली से खिताब। तकरीब हलबरदारी से कबल हामियों से खिताब में कहा कि ये एक तारीखी लम्हा है, हम सरहद से दरअंदाजी को रोकेंगे, हम अमन व अमान को बहाल करेंगे। उन्होंने कहा कि तारीखी रफ्तार और ताकत के साथ काम करेंगे, मुल्क को दरपेश हर बहरान का हल निकालेंगे, हमें ये करना ही है। ये भी कहा कि टिकटॉक को बचाने की जरूरत है, अमरीका को टिकटॉक की निस्फ मिल्कियत हासिल करनी चाहिए, चाहेंगे कि ज्वाइंट वेंचर में अमरीका की 50% मिल्कियत हो। टिकटॉक की मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन खरबों डॉलर तक पहुंच सकती है। उन्होंने कहा कि हालिया इलेक्शन में हमने भारी अक्सरियत से कामयाबी हासिल की है। मजीद खबरों और अपडेट्स के लिए देखते रहिए जियो न्यूज।
आइए चलते हैं प्रोग्राम के बकिया हिस्से की तरफ।
जी 5000 का हमने रखा है, लेकिन वो इतना अभी हमारे पास, उसको हम प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज करने पर अभी हम कर रहे हैं उसके ऊपर काम कि इसकी प्रोडक्शन इनहांस हो ताकि हम इसको मार्केट कर सकें और ये बाजार में कमर्शियली भी मार्केट हो सके, अवेलेबल हो वहाँ पर।
ये क्वालिटी का कोई एश्योरेंस नहीं हो सकती कि शायद जो है किस तरह से लोग बाजार में।
प्रोग्राम का बकिया हिस्सा आप देख सकेंगे इस न्यूज ब्रेक के बाद।
डोनाल्ड ट्रंप एक बार फिर हामियों से खिताब कर रहे हैं, आपको दिखाते हैं।
Same thing happened yesterday. It came down and it was captured so beautifully. It came down, it's tumbling, it's a mess, it's going down. I say, oh, look at that thing, that's a disaster. And then it gets like a couple of miles away from Earth, and all of a sudden the engines start going on, the things start, and then I see it coming in and landing in the gantry. And I'm watching it and say, oh, it's going to crash. Oh, but those engines came out and they blew the fire all over the place. And all of a sudden those two big arms came and hugged it like you would hug your little baby. And that sucker landed, and nobody's been able to do that but him. And he's a great guy. And we have him and Vivek and some great people working on a thing called costs. And he's got the credibility to do it, too. And we're going to do things that are really amazing. But he went out to Pennsylvania after that. He landed that rocket nobody had ever seen. By the way, China can't do it. Russia can't do it or come close. It will be 10 years before they can do it. And the U.S. can't do it except for him. And it's pretty amazing. But he did that, and then he journeyed to Pennsylvania, where he spent like a month and a half campaigning for me in Pennsylvania. And he's a popular guy, and he was very effective. And he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote-counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon. And his son's name, who's cute as a button, his son's name is X. He's the only guy who could get away with the name X. but his son is a great guy. One thing we know, his son is smart. If you believe in the racehorse theory, he's got a nice, smart son. But thank you very much to Elon and everybody. We've had so much help. Every radical and foolish executive order of the Biden administration will be repealed within hours of when I take the oath of office. Oh, you're going to have a lot of fun watching television tomorrow. Somebody said yesterday, sir, don't sign so many in one day. Let's do it over a period of weeks. I said, like hell, we're going to do it over weeks. We're going to sign them at the beginning. You know that old story. Let's do it later. Then it never gets done. No, we're doing them tomorrow. And we'll have plenty to sign in the future. Don't worry about it. It's not going to stop. But we're going to stop the destructive and divisive diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates all across the government and private sector and return our country to the merit system. You know, the Supreme Court ruled that the United States is allowed to go by the merit system, which is what made us great in the first place. That was a big ruling that a lot of people don't even know about, but it was a big, tremendous ruling. And you're focusing on character, competence, and qualifications in all hiring decisions. Now you're allowed to go by competence and ability and genius. You don't have to hire somebody to send up one of his rocket ships that doesn't know anything about what's happening. As a first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, and in the coming days, we are going to make public remaining records relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and other topics of great public interest. It's all going to be released, Uncle Sam. And I will direct our military to begin construction of the great Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will all be made in the USA. And we will get wokeness the hell out of our military immediately and make it like it used to be. Take a look at this.
Scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry! You will learn by the number!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah!
I hear it and I know I know you wanna take.
You will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death, praying for war. But until that day, you are puke. You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
How to abracadabra, these bitches know I got answers the way I...
You know what to me like the best part of you ran